So today we will build an ambient drone patch with Stargazer by Morphenzif. This is what it will sound like. So Stargazer is an excellent synth voice for drones and textures. We have here a stereo output. Right, I already have it tuned to A, so our drone today will be in A. And we have two oscillators that we can mix. Right, we can even detune them. Take the second oscillator down an octave. Can even spread them in the stereo field. Right, so already we get a nice fat sound. We have here also sample rate reduction for extra glitter. Right, and now we have, let me turn this down a bit, we have two filters here, filter 1 and filter 2. We have one filter before the sample rate reduction and one filter after the sample rate reduction. So I can use the second filter for adding movement, and we have different filter modes. So in this case I will go with the notch filter. Right, this one here, this is something like an inverted bandpass. So instead of letting through a band, it will attenuate it, and this gives us a nice effect. Right, now we have three LFOs that we can use to add movement in various places. LFO 3 will be internally routed to the second filter, so I can add modulation, change the rate. Right, so we have a bit more movement. Right, so we have a nice basic drone that we can use for adding another layer by sampling it actually. So I will use the Sequocell sampler, the Seco sampler. Let me again just take this down. I will use a copy of this Stargazer. And actually we will take Stargazer up an octave before recording it and then lower the sample back down to get a nice texture. So I will tune this. Right, if I right click the pitch control, I can tune this to A3. Right, and then record. Right, just record something like 10-11 seconds. Then we don't need the inputs anymore. Right, I will connect this to the second input here on the mixer. Now I can set this to loop and then start playing it. Right, so we have this sample recorded. We have also loop points that I can change, so maybe it will start here, right, the loop end here, and maybe add some crossfading just to get rid of these clicks. Right, maybe a bit more. And now I can take this also an octave down with the tune control. Just right click it and enter -12 semitones. Right, and now it's an octave down. And it's also playing slower. You can hear it's nice and crunchy. And now we will process this even further with the Musex delay. Right, so I will send this through the delay back to the mixer. Now if I take on the delay the stages down, right, we get here a much shorter delay time. Right, so I can set it to around, let's say, 30 milliseconds, add some feedback, maybe the mix for now all the way up, cut off all the way up so it's not filtering anything, maybe add some noise. Right, more input. Right, and now by modulating the delay time, we can get this wow flutter effect. Right, so I will use the Rand Mod 7 also from Sequocell, which gives me 7 smooth random modulation sources, right, with minimum and maximum, so with range controls. I will take this down for a second, connect this to the delay time, maybe a bit slower, and start adding modulation. So we get a nice movement. Take the mix now a bit down. And of course, add the reverb to this with Galaxy from Sapphire. Right, we have left and right. Maybe more brightness. A bit more detune even. Right now we can mix this back with the original sound. We just have to take it back down an octave. Right, and we have another layer. Right, now let's add more layers. So I will put this up for a second, right, maybe here, and add another Stargazer. Again, I have it by default tuned to the note A. This time, let's just use the left output. Right, and we will use the wavetable capabilities of the oscillator, so we can change the wavetable. And again, we can modulate this, in this case with LFO1. You can see there are even traces here that show you exactly where the LFOs are going here. Right, so I can add a bit of modulation. We also have different shapes, right, and one of them is smooth random. Now let's utilize both filters. So the first one will be a bandpass, right, with more resonance. In this case, we don't have a dedicated LFO for this filter, but again, we have external inputs. So I can just take maybe the rand mode here down, right, and use this to modulate the frequency of filter 1, which is here on the right. Right, maybe something like this, just again to have some movement. Right, now if I add some sample rate reduction, we get this vowel-like effect. Right? We can even add some bit crushing with the redux. Again, this is just for extra texture and glitter. And then the second filter will stay low pass, and it will control the overall timbre. Right, and here we can use the LFO3. Right, something like this. Right now we even have LFO2 routed to the volume, so we have amplitude modulation. Right, so we can have some amplitude modulation and even modulate the rate of LFO2 again with a random signal. Let me just take the range here down. Right, so we have here rate LFO2. So we have even more movement. And now let's send this through a delay with echo, also Sapphire. Right, let's go left in and then left and right out. And here we have a multi-tap delay where we can add more taps. So I just click the add tap. Now we have two taps. One will be panned to the left, one will be panned to the right. Maybe shorter delay times, more feedback. Right, and what we will do now, we will totally smear this in reverb with plateau and use only the wet signal. Right, so I will take the dry signal all the way down and then raise just the wet. Maybe more decay, more modulation. Right, so we have another layer. Again, let's mix this with the first two layers. Right, something like this. Now we need more movement for the first two layers. They are a bit static, so I will use for each of them, right, the sample and the original Stargazer here. I will use another filter. This will be the multi-mode filter from Venom, one for each. Right, maybe here before the reverb. Right, so we have again, I will use low pass filters again just to control the timbre a bit and add some movement to them. So we have the first voice, and then we have the second voice. Right, and then here I can add some movement again with random modulation. Right, maybe some here. Again, make it slower. Right, also for the second filter. Somewhere here, and on this filter we have also the spread control, which will add some sort of panning, so it will use or open the left filter and the right filter separate from one another. So also to this I can add some movement with modulation. Right, so again we have a nice big sound. And now let's add another layer, in this case with, you know what, I will add this down here, with a new grains module from JW. What we will do, it has also an input that we can record into, so I will just record the, let's say, the left output of everything, right, just record a few seconds, right, with all the movement, right, something like this. Right, and let's listen to this now. We have a stereo output. I will just solo this for a second. Right, so this will now granulize this. I can change the position, add grain size. And again, we just recorded the output. Maybe take this an octave up, again with 12 semitones upwards. We can spread the grains and add random panning. Right, maybe even spread them some more. And of course, add also here reverb with Galaxy. Again, make this brighter and with even more detune. And again, let's mix this with the other layers. Something like this. Right, now another thing we can do with Stargazer is process external signals. We have here also an external input that will replace the oscillators. Right, so what I will do, I will use the FM2 oscillator from Surge XT. Right, use just the left output. This is a mono, it's not a stereo VCO. Right, and then process this. Right, you will use the stereo output in this case. I will just solo this for a second. Right, I need more modulation, so I will use another random mode. Let me just take this down. Another random rand mod 7. Right, I can modulate, for example, the feedback here of the FM2. Right, and then also with two more modulation sources, the FM amount, maybe make them unipolar just to take the minimum by taking the minimum to 0, right, 1 and 2, and maybe change the ratio. This is again an FM VCO or oscillator, so I can change the ratio to 2 to 1, so we have a bit more movement, make everything a bit slower. Right now in this case I do want a bit of harmony, so let's change this to E3, right? So we have A and E. Oh, I wanted to do this here, sorry, not on Stargazer. Here on the FM2, of course, we are processing the FM2, so we disable here the oscillators of Stargazer, so there is no need to tune them, right? So now we do get a bit of harmony, add some sample rate reduction, bit crushing. Right, we can add some modulation to the alias even. Again, just a tiny bit. Just for some movement. Now we can use the first filter as a high pass filter, right, to accentuate the E3 frequency. So I can just right click it, enter E3, and then by adding resonance it will add even more of this frequency. Right? So we emphasize this even more. And then use the second filter as a low pass again to control a bit the timbre, and in this case again with the internal modulation, maybe a smooth random. Right, something like this. Right now also here we can have amplitude modulation. In this case let's go with maybe like a ramp down for something a bit more percussive. Right, and again modulate the rate. Again, not so much. Just for some movement. Now we have also gain, which will distort the sound a bit. And stereo spread. And in this case, let's use Nimbus, which is a cloud's clone, to granularize things. Right, so mix all the way up. I will show you the texture in a second, but let's take the density up to start generating grains. Right, maybe take the quality a bit down, size up. And now the texture all the way to the right will just smear everything. So we lose the percussiveness. So let's take the texture all the way to the left, spread all the way up for stereo spread. Density a bit. Right, add reverb. And now I can also freeze things. Right, and I will use the LFO from the LFO1 from Stargazer. We have also individual outputs. So the LFO1 to freeze Nimbus here every now and then. So we need to raise the depth. Let's change this to square, right? And let's see a nice rate for this. Maybe even higher, right? So we have a different range. Let's go with medium. Right, something like this. So now it will also freeze Nimbus. And again, let's mix this also with the other layers. Alright, let's do something like this just so it looks also nicer. And again, this is in the note E, so it adds a bit of harmony. And we have a nice big sound. I have here another voice that I will use just to jam on top here. Right, let me connect this here also to the mixer. Right, what I have here is of course another Stargazer. I have modulation set up, right, also with the quad LFO and also with internal modulation. I have LFO3, by the way, is also routed to the FM, so I have some FM here, just slightly vibrato. Right, so I'm going to jam a bit with this voice on top of this lush, lovely drone. But that was it. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Consider joining us on Patreon if you're interested in more content and supporting the channel. Cheers.